All right, Louisiana residents living along Cancer Alley have a breakthrough with a new federal rule expected to reduce the pollution from chemical plants and refineries. Cancer Alley is a corridor along the Mississippi River between New Orleans and Baton Rouge of more than 150 industrial facilities that produce a quarter of the nation's petrochemicals. The new rule is designed to reduce the risk of cancer. Now, take a look here to see the petrochemicals produced in Cancer Alley that's heavily populated by Black people. Sharon Lavigne, she's the founder and president of Rise St. James. She joins me now to talk about this particular ruling as well as Cancer Alley. Thank you so much, Sharon, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You know, for people who don't understand, before we get to this rule, kind of the what's going on in Cancer Alley, how would you explain what is going on today? It is a story that has been out for years, but when you describe what's going on today, how would you assess it?
It's like a death sentence. To me, it's a death sentence because we are being polluted. And our politicians allow these industries to come into our community, and they're receiving some type of money under the table. And one of our neighbors just died this morning with lung cancer. And it's heartbreaking because we're dying like flies. We are in the middle of this so-called Cancer Alley. Cancer Alley is an 85-mile stretch between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. St. James Parish and St. John the Baptist Parish is smack in the middle of Cancer Alley. And we have 7 districts in St. James Parish. I live in the 5th district where there are 12 industries within a 10-mile radius. There's over 100 storage tanks within a 10-mile radius. No other area in St. James have these storage tanks. The 4th district have about 7 or 8 industries over there, but we are the ones that's suffering the most from the air pollution, from the water and the soil. We cannot plant a garden anymore. We cannot breathe the air without getting sick and without consuming chemicals in our bodies. And so, and the water comes from our river, our drinking water, and there's benzene in that drinking water. And there's also other chemicals in the drinking water. So we have to use bottled water to cook with and to drink with. And we are living in a death sentence.
And from what I understand, there are facilities that might be 500 feet from somebody's front door. People who are get sick and spit up on the side of the road because of the effects of this. Let's talk about this new guideline. What do you think about what is on the table for Cancer Alley?
I think that it's a help to us. I think that the rules they are not strict enough for some areas. For example, like chloroprene. That's where the plant in St. John the Baptist Parish, they've been fighting that for years. And chloroprene is one of the biggest one on the list with the Hans rules. They have to, within 90 days, they have to comply. And if not, they're gonna have fines. And ethylene oxide would be the one in St. James that we are breathing. And it's gonna be about 2 years before they really put that one into effect. So I think that they should go into effect immediately because people are dying immediately. People are not waiting 2 years to die. We are dying right now.
With these guidelines, did you have say or input in making them happen? Did someone on an official level come to you as a leader to say, what is it that we need to be concerned about?
Well, when Administrator Michael Regan came to St. James on his Justice to Journey tour, he asked us what we wanted, and we told him. And Concerned Citizen of St. John also told him what we wanted. And when he came here, he saw for himself. Then me and my daughter went back to his office in D.C. and spoke with him again, and he assured us that he's working on something to help us. And he said it really touched his heart to see what we're living in.
So these guidelines in particular, how would you explain them in terms of, it sounds like it's giving you some hope, but what do they say exactly?
It's giving me hope because Formosa Plastics is a plastic plant that want to be built in St. James, 2 miles from my home. With this rule, they cannot build with the emissions that low. So if they don't comply with the EPA Hans rules, they will not be able to build. And I know they won't be able to build because they can't function with that lower emissions. And a whole lot of industry can't function with these new Hans rules. That's why so many people are angry with Administrator Regan. But it's too bad. He's working for the people. He's trying to save our lives. And this is the beginning of him working to save our lives.
As you mentioned, someone died just this morning. I have read many accounts of meetings about this issue where when there was a vote as to who has lost someone in their family to cancer, it's 100% that everybody in these meetings, everybody who lives in this community has lost someone to cancer.
That's right. And people right now have cancer. A lot of people. My friend Melvin, he has colon cancer. Some of my friends have breast cancer. My 2 brothers have prostate cancer. And it's a whole bunch of people with cancer.
Piecemealing along the way, how have officials or the government helped up until this point, if at all? Has there been any moving of the needle, or is this really the first breakthrough of hope that you guys have experienced?
This is the first breakthrough of hope, because our public officials, our 7 council members voted for Formosa Plastics to come in here. And the council person that lives not far from me, I could walk to his house, he voted for Formosa Plastics to be built in the 5th district where he lived also. So I don't have any faith in our parish councils. I don't have any faith in our public officials, our leaders. Not one of them came to the rescue to help save the lives of the people in St. James Parish. If it wouldn't have been for Rise St. James, we still wouldn't have these Hans rules.
I'm going to go to the panel right now. I want to start with you, Dr. Malvo. You have a question for Sharon.
Absolutely. Sharon, first of all, thank you for your work. My folks are from Opelousas, so familiar territory. Black folks are more likely to have cancer than other people. Black women, 41% more. I mean, we have higher death rates and lower survival rates, and I guess that's what you're living right now. Environmental factors are a really big part of what's going on. You've been really active for a very long time. And the EPA does have the ability to fine. So this is the first time you've really seen any pushback to these corporations. And the second part of this question is, I've been doing a little bit of research, and people, all those companies talk about, well, if we have to do this, there'll be less jobs. What do you say to that?
Oh, I'd rather have less jobs and live a long, healthy life than to have these jobs and my life is cut short by 25 years. And the jobs that comes to St. James, we don't get the jobs. They hire people outside of our area. People come from Texas, different states, Mississippi, Tennessee, and they house them at this hotel right next to the Sunshine Bridge. They have about 4 hotels over there that's built to house these workers. So getting these jobs is not for St. James. It's for the outsiders. All we getting is sickness and death. And that's a fact. We want to live.
I'm sorry for your loss. Very sorry for your loss, Miss LaVine, what you talked about with your friend this morning. And I really appreciate your powerful work in this space. I'm wondering, how long will it be before what Regan promised will your community start to see effects from what their policies are going to, from the policies that they're going to implement?
How long would it take? All right, with chloroprene, they have not 90 days. So we want to see that. And I want to be there when they are not complying. I want to be there when the EPA come to slap a fine on them or whatever they're going to do to them, because LDEQ is not on our side. LDEQ is not helping us at all. They approve these permits for these companies to pollute us. LDEQ know what chemicals are being emitted in the air, and they allow these things. We call LDEQ to complain. They give us a deaf ear. They say they're going to look at it, might come out here 2 or 3 days later, or maybe weeks later, and they call me and tell me they didn't find anything. Of course you didn't find anything. You didn't look for anything. And we are tired of LDEQ not helping us. They're supposed to protect the citizens, not the industry. They are with the industry. They helping the industry to kill us, to poison us. We don't need LDEQ if they're not going to help the people that live here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Wow.
Renita.
Ms. LaVine, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. I mean, the work that you are doing, you should not have to do, because it is common sense that, the not having a job will mean nothing if you've died from cancer. Not having car parts, which I saw that some of the chemicals, neoprene, one of the chemicals that's giving people cancer, is used in car parts, but you won't need a car if you are not alive to be able to drive. So you're pointing out the obvious, and I just really appreciate. I just want to say thank you so much for your work. My question is, I have seen this happen before where the EPA finally decides to get serious about enforcement, and they come out with a ruling, and then everybody kind of relaxes and just says, okay, great, now that is handled. My question is, what is your, does RISE, your organization, have plans to make sure that you continue to show community support and keep the pressure to say, hey, listen, EPA, you made this ruling, do not go back on it. I don't care what these leaders say, people want to live. Do you have plans, and how can we support you in keeping the pressure on to make sure that nobody walks back on their word?
For example, EPA is supposed to monitor the air monitor that EPA gave us. LDEQ is the one that put the monitor up in St. James. We asked EPA to put in their rulings that we can evaluate these industries ourselves. We don't need LDEQ to tell us. We want to have first access to this data and to these emissions. We're going to keep an eye on this monitor, and we're going to keep an eye on what LDEQ is saying about these monitors. When so-and-so go over the limit, we want to see if LDEQ going to do something about it. And if they don't do something about it, we're going to do something about it. We, as the citizens, the people, we're going to come together and do something about it. And we will report every little detail to EPA. That's the only thing we have. But we, as the citizens, we have to do the work ourselves. Just like you say, I shouldn't have to do this. But I'm taking my life to do the work to save the lives of the people in my community and save my life also. So LDEQ, we're going to hold them accountable. We are tired. We're tired of being sick and tired of what they are doing to us. It looked like they want this whole area wiped out. We were told that centuries ago that this area where I live is going to be all industrial. But 2018, that brought a change. No, it's not going to be all industrial. We want our town back, and we are fighting. And we're going to see to make sure that these industries are held accountable. And if they can't follow the rules, we're going to get on LDEQ. And if LDEQ is not doing it, we're going to EPA.
Well, ma'am, you deserve every accolation. You deserve every single accolation possible for the work that you're doing. And I do want to catch just the end of that question again. What can we do to support RISE, your organization?
We have a petition out to President Biden. We already had 96,000 signatures. And we want you all to bring awareness to what's going on. Help us to get the word out. We want the world to know that we are being poisoned. We want the world to know that we want to live, and we want to live a happy, productive life. When my community, children might wind up dying in their teens and their early 20s because of all this pollution if it don't stop. And we have a 200-foot mound on the east bank. And if, just like they said, if a hurricane would come, it would knock that mound over. The field would go, is called a Jemison stockpile with radioactive water, wastewater from Mosaic. It's been there. It leaks into the soil, and it's there. If a hurricane come and knock it down, it's going to go into the river, into our drinking water. Our river's already polluted with chemicals, and it's going to be more chemicals. It's going to affect New Orleans area also. So we have issues all around us about these industries, and they're still polluting us. But we need help by getting the word out. We want to do an action. We want to make more people aware, and we want people to help us to clean up this air so we could breathe clean air and go back to planting a garden again. But there's a petition on our website. You can go to risestjames.org, and you can sign a petition.
All right. Renita, thank you for following up on that question. And like she said, you shouldn't have to be a trailblazer, but you are. And we thank you for your work. And we will continue to follow up to see if this is the breakthrough and hope that you have indeed been looking for. Sharon, thank you so much for being with us today.
It's time for a new you. Curl Prep Natural Hair Solutions at curlprep.com is an amazing organic line for curls, locks, braids, twists, and even those curly wigs and extensions. Women, men, and children are loving this line. People line up to see this product in action at hair shows, and when they take a seat and try it, they don't believe it's their hair. Remove the ouch factor for your child, too. Buy at curlprep.com.